All right, people. We have a very serious situation that's unfolding right now, and actually, it's been taking place for quite some time. Unbeknownst to most of the general public, there is a civil war taking place right now between different factions of the shadow government. Now, what really began to bring this to light to me, or solidify this to me, is several things. But initially, it started when Barack Obama passed the NDAA bill. Now, of course, this pissed me off, pissed a lot of other people off. Okay, but I have the uncanny um, ability to always dig deeper into things. Even though I may have an initial opinion, I keep an open mind and I tend to gather more and more facts, and it allows me to paint a broader picture or to create a mosaic, so to speak, and determine pretty much what's going on. It was this, me looking into this, uh, as well as gathering other bits and pieces of information that's really not being shown to the people through the mainstream media. Now, first of all, let me say now that I did not vote for Barack Obama. I set this election out because I'm tired of picking and choosing between the lesser of two evils. With that said, I'm definitely happy that he won um, instead of Mitt Romney. Okay, but anyway, to understand what's going on, let's just take and break the shadow government down into two basic factions. Now, this is a very generalization of things. It can be a lot more complicated, but for simplification purposes, we'll just break it down into two factions, which I refer to as the psychopath faction and the sociopath faction. Now, if anybody knows about psychopaths and sociopaths, they're almost two sides of the same coin, or basically it's just a different degree of the same psychosis, okay? But the psychopaths I break down into basically like the neocons, the Mormon Mafia faction, the APAC or Israeli faction. On the sociopath side, I break it down into basically like the liberals, or one could even say communists, to the Bole and secret societies such as the Shriners, Prince Hall Masons, etc., etc. Now, to look at basically people who represent these two factions, you could take a look on the sociopath or psychopath wing of the shadow government. You have people like Dick Cheney, Pat Buchanan, Donald Rumsfeld, many others. And on the other side, the sociopath side of the shadow government, you have people such as Zygmunt Brzezinski. And now I'm going to get a lot of flack for this, but I'll explain it later. People like George Bush, okay, Sr., or the George Bush family, and the Clintons. Now, these two groups basically want the same thing. The only disagreement is how they're going to go about bringing this into being. Both want a world global government, okay? The psychopath faction I refer to as wanting to bring about the Anglo-Saxon Empire. Basically, their take on it is, yeah, we want one world government, but we want it to be dominated and ruled basically by the Anglo-Saxon elite. England, France, Germany, United States, etc. Israel would be included in that. The other faction basically wants to bring about the one world government using a United Nations style, or the United Nations, where all different peoples and groups participate. However, it is ruled by a global elite, which will be comprised of various different ethnic groups. And still possibly at the head of that would probably still be Anglo-Saxons, okay? But generally, they look at it, if we're going to bring this about, we're going to have to use soft power. We're going to have to use the media, movies, educational system to coach and convince people that this is a good idea and in their best interest, while the other side says, hey, we'll just kill and dominate our way to global supremacy. And this is basically, it's basically just two ideologies on how to bring about this global empire. But anyway, what's going on is, which pretty much explains why the Obama administration demanded certain powers to be added or included in the NDAA bill. Basically, what's going on is that the psychopath faction, the neocons, the Mormon mafia, the APAC, has been attempting to overthrow completely the United States government. Now, what they decided to do was, first of all, which the Benghazi attack was a clue to this. They were trying to cauterize Barack Obama in hopes that they could get their guy Mitt Romney in the White House. But they had a plan B, and that plan B was to assassinate Barack Obama, possibly other heads in his cabinet, and install the military, using the military basically. And the guy that they were going to put in power was probably David Petraeus. Okay. Now, if you look at the Benghazi attack and who was responsible for that, clearly to me that there was something funny going on. I don't know whether or not if Barack Obama, if the White House is the one who gave the order to stand down in that attack. It's possible that they were trying to weed out who was responsible in order to unravel the plot, okay? But the Benghazi attack was headed by, in my opinion, the Mossad and the Mormon faction in the CIA. And if anyone doesn't know, the Mormons have groups or factions within all of the intelligence agencies, as do Mossad. Now, if you notice, for the last few years, there was a lot of this coup talk. What's his name? Drake, which is clearly a COINTELPRO or CIA patsy, was online talking about that the military is going to overthrow the government and arrest all of the bankers, blah, 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 blah. I believe that was just they were just putting it out there to try to get the dumb sheeple to go along with the idea, thinking that it was in the best interest of the people, when in fact, it's not. Now, if you notice that right after the election, several top military commanders were basically fired. You have even David Petraeus, who at the time was the head of the CIA. What's the word for it? He resigned from, of course, he was forced out. You have Rear Admiral, what's his name? Charles Gott, I think that's his name. He was removed. And there's some information out there that this guy, along with other military leaders, were planning a coup. Whether or not you agree with Obama, like Obama, what side of the aisle you're on, it really doesn't matter. I don't think any of this is good for anybody in the United States. because the goal is to use the United States military power to dominate the world. These people are pretty insane, by the way. They basically want to nuke the world into submission. Okay, I don't think anyone can argue that this is a good idea. Now, I'm not saying that the other side, the sociopath faction, is any better. However, I don't think they're insane. I think they're more pragmatic, more practical in their approach to bringing about this one world government. But anyway, if you also take a look at what happened, and this is why I say Bush is not a part of that faction. A lot of people may not remember, but they tried to pretty much throw Bush Jr. out of office. If you look at the situation when those nuclear missiles were taken from the what's the name of the military base? I think it's the Minot Air Force Base, and of course it wasn't widely reported in the news, but 3 of those nuclear weapons have gone missing. Now, coincidentally, recently, a few years ago, they were doing some kind of exercise or whatever using radar, using I can't think of the word for sensors or whatever that can pick up radioactive material, and they found that there were nuclear signals coming from the Israeli consulate. I believe it was in New York City. Well, the government asked Israeli government, could they come in and investigate what was going on. Of course, they were denied. So I mean, it doesn't take a brain surgeon or a rocket scientist to figure out that those 3 missing nuclear weapons are probably in the hands of Israeli Mossad for the purpose of creating a false flag attack, creating chaos and mayhem in the United States to pressure Barack Obama into starting World War III, basically blaming Iran for the nuclear explosions. Okay, so we're in a really, really serious situation. The media is not talking about it. A lot of the brain dead sheeple out there don't have a damn clue as to what's going on. But I thought I'd make this little video just to give some of the people out there a heads up, and hold on to your seats, people, because this thing's going to get pretty bumpy ahead. Okay. But if you want to take a look at some of those articles, go to Press TV. There are several articles there. I believe one is titled, APAC decapitation attempt foiled or something like that. Anyway, I'll put some links down in the video. You guys can check that out. Also check out what Zbigniew Brzezinski recently said in Poland, where he gave a speech there and basically was saying that the United States should not follow Israel around like a dumb mule, or to something to that effect. Clearly, people, there is a civil war taking place within the shadow government elite, and it will affect all of our lives. But no matter what our political stances are, we cannot allow this to go forward. We need to get the word out, and if anything happens to President Barack Obama, whether you like him or not, those who are responsible should have hell to pay. We cannot tolerate the assassination of any president. I don't give a damn whether we agree with him or not. We cannot allow foreign or domestic basic mobs to kill the president. It's unacceptable. Anyway, tell me what you think about the video. Please, no stupid remarks, no childish remarks. All right.